Morning, everyone. The sun is out. Lovely to see students doing the rainbow chalk walk. I do just want to take 1 minute to welcome our rowers back to our community, to sort of rapturous welcome out by the gates last night. I've heard all the incredible achievements and personal bests, and the Super Sunday, magnificent performances and great representation of our school. So welcome back. We, of course, have the banners for the golf for the first time in our history, the BC Provincial banner, and our boys, Colts, and senior rugby teams brought back their banners as well. And the girls did magnificently and came in fourth, losing out to a try in the closing minutes of their game. Magnificent. The Rev and I have asked Mr. Murdy, and we will ask Josh Green to hang those banners in lunch today, and there will be recognition of your achievements in lunch led by Mr. Murdy. We're going to start up with Jerusalem in the hymn book. Which number? I'm getting 5 and 6. Someone confirm. Number 5, thanks very much, with Miss Tyrrell on the piano.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Tyrrell. Please be seated. I'm going to ask your gracious patience. Just for a minute, I want to say a couple things. Last night, you watched a video in which you heard a little bit about the history of Pride Month. You heard about the Stonewall riots in New York in 1969. I just want to share a little bit. About 10 years after that, in 1979 or 78, in there, I was living in Toronto, and my roommate was very active in LGBTQ politics. We didn't say LGBTQ in those days. It was easier. We just said gay. But it was a time when gay men who were being arrested for gathering in certain places. It was a time when there were raids on the bookstore, Glad Day Bookstore, which was the LGBTQ bookstore in Toronto. It was a very different time. And one day my friend said, "Come with me, we're going to a march." And it was kind of one of those moments. I didn't know where I was going. Anyways, I ended up in the Pride March that sunny Saturday afternoon in Toronto, as I say, about 1979. And I think they must have had a license, but along the route there were RCMP officers in full gear with video cameras along the tops of buildings taking videos and pictures of people. It wasn't a very friendly feeling that day. It was a time when LGBTQ people were really, it took a lot of courage to get out and go on those marches. It wasn't a time when it wasn't a celebration. It was a time of making known that things were not right. And so I want to say this because, there's different elements to celebration of Pride Month. On one hand, it's a time for people who are working out who they are and trying to establish their own identity, learning how to express who they are, trying to kind of come to terms with themselves. But there's another part of it, and that's the part I think that we're celebrating right now, and that's the community part of it. And that's the part of it that is about making sure that our communities are safe for everyone, that our communities are places where everyone is respected, where people don't have to worry, don't have to be afraid to express who they are. So if you wonder, well, why are we doing this today? It's because we all have that obligation to make sure that everyone feels safe. And today we're talking about LGBTQ people. There's other people in this culture that don't feel safe as well, as we've talked about in the past. So we all have a reason to be here. We all have a part to play in this commemoration of the Stonewall riots. And I think part of that is really trying to learn to listen to people who are trying to express something maybe that hasn't been considered particularly acceptable in the past. So I want you to listen carefully this morning, and I'm going to invite AJ to come forward and speak to us.
All right. Hi, everyone. Most of you know me as AJ, some as Ressa. It's really all the same to me. I'm a bisexual grade 12 student in Case House and have been here at Shawnigan for the past 4 years. When I was asked to do this speech for the Pride Day Chapel about what pride means to me, I was happy to accept. Most of the other candidates were too busy doing prefect stuff or hating public speaking, so I, as a 4-year Model UN kid, was happy to step in. My years of experience talking about subjects that I was sorely unqualified to talk about in front of an audience of bored high schoolers would finally be put to some use. However, as I began to write this speech and actually think seriously about doing it, I became paralyzed with fear. What I hadn't realized is that throughout those 4 years, I'd never written a speech about myself, much less such an intimate topic. Being LGBTQ+ is an incredibly personal part of my identity that I actually absolutely hate confronting head on. The entirety of my coming out strategy 4 years ago was making it public information that everybody knew, so I didn't actually have to talk about it to anyone. As you can see, it didn't work. However, throughout those 4 years, Shawnigan's changed and grown in more ways than one, becoming more accepting and open of things such as this. Even then, that fear of exposing myself in this way, as much as I like to pretend that it's gone away, has stayed with me as much as my identity has. I'm scared of being too much. I'm scared of being looked down on. I'm scared of being mocked. I'm scared that everyone here will know me just as gay, rather than any of my other accomplishments. Secretly, I am absolutely terrified of standing here before you today. but I'm here. And that is what Pride and Pride Month means to me. My mother told me years ago, with a lot of other advice I've long since forgotten, that courage isn't not being afraid of something. It's being afraid of something and doing it anyway. That message will stay with me for the rest of my life. To me, pride is accepting myself for who I am and not being ashamed that I'm afraid to do it. Pride isn't being ashamed of fear, and pride isn't about not being afraid. It's about overcoming fear by accepting it, and above all, just doing what you're scared of anyway. Pride means different things to different people, but the overarching message is always the same. To everyone sitting here, whether you know everything or nothing about pride, I urge you to listen. The message contained in pride is universal and applies to everyone here today. However, everyone will always have their own interpretations of pride, and to me, pride will never be about hiding your fears or hiding yourself. It's about acknowledging your fears, acknowledging yourself, and carrying on anyway. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm sorry, I forgot to invite Dalen to come up to read the poem.
Like almost every other one that she wrote, this poem by Emily Dickinson has no title, but I think that it speaks for itself and speaks for Pride Month quite well. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words that never stops at all. The sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest lands and in the strangest seas, and never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. I'd now like to invite up Serena Zhang to talk about the Laramie Project.
Hello, my name is Serena Zhang, and I'm in the theater company class, right? And we're doing a production of a play called The Laramie Project, and I'd like to give you a little bit of background about it. On October 7th, 1989, Matthew Shepard, a gay 21-year-old University of Wyoming student, was brutally attacked and tied to a fence on the outskirts of Laramie, Wyoming, left to die. This hate crime shook the world as people were forced to confront the bigotry that undeniably existed throughout their very own communities. Following Matthew's murder, the members of the Tectonic Theater Company traveled to Laramie to interview residents about how the brutal crime had affected the town. These interviews were then transformed into the Laramie Project. And the theater company class this year is performing the Laramie Project this weekend. And if I could have the cast stand up right now, please, be bold. If you could look around, these people are telling this story this weekend. And yeah, you guys can sit down now. Since this is such a heavy topic, I would like to give you all some context before you make the decision to attend. The Laramie Project is not your conventional play. The script is composed of the actual words of the people that were interviewed. There's no sanitation of what is said. This not only includes profanity, but also includes a plethora of bigoted ideas and language. The Laramie Project includes scenes that discuss and/or portray violence, sexual assault, homophobia, religious trauma, and drug abuse. We understand that this is an extremely triggering topic for many people, so if any of these topics are particularly troubling to you, please do not feel obligated to attend. However, we would really appreciate your coming to the show. While the topics discussed are not easy to talk about, it is an important conversation to have. It's a moving piece that invites introspection and reflection, and we hope you are willing to listen with open ears. Grade 8s, 9s, and 10s are invited to our Friday matinee at 3 p.m. Grade 11s are invited to our Friday evening show at 7:30 p.m., and grade 12s to our Saturday evening show. If you cannot attend with your grade, you are welcome to join us at any one of the other performances. Thank you. So I'm also going to be singing on a Tuesday chapel, I know. But this song is called I Push Up My Glasses by Nico Benson, and it's a cute little coffee shop number that talks about unrequited love that's Very common in LGBTQ plus spaces. Okay. I push up my glasses as you go about frothing the cream, and I'm sweating from all of the steam as it simmers me into a dream. I push up my glasses so I might catch the gleam of your eyes. I know you like those nerdy hipster guys. Can't you see through their plastic disguise? Oh, every shift at work I might just go berserk as you toy, pushing past for the soy, hoping maybe one day you would finally say that you want me over some stupid boy. I push up my glasses as you twirl the milk in a heart swirl. I remember that I am still a girl, and I wish that my heart would unwhirl, 'cause I know I'll never be your type. So I try to tune out as I go to clock out. I push up my glasses.
A little word from me just to thank Dalen and AJ. You've done a tremendous job this year leading SOGI. And I know the staff who've worked alongside you and the students recognize what you've done, how brave you've been, and what a great contribution you've made to our school. Someone's phone is going off. And of course, diversity is our strength at Shawnigan, and I'm sure the Rev chose Jerusalem specifically for those lines. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till everyone feels safe at Shawnigan. And all of us should mark those words as students and staff to make sure all students anyone within a 5-meter radius of each and every one of you feels safe. And as my contribution to Pride Week, Pride Month, I once found myself in the Place de la Bastille in Paris in 1995 at the Gay Pride March, and I had one of the most remarkable, extraordinary, bizarre, brilliant days of my life. I was an undergraduate student. A great friend of mine was at Edinburgh University and had a year out. He was reading French. He was working for a French modeling agency, and we had one of the days of our lives. And if any student catches me over the next week, I'll tell them about that day. I think we've got time for one last hymn. Sorry, Shannon. Let's go with I Vow to Thee My Country, which is number 3, and it has the word pride in it. So, let's deliver it. Is that okay, Shannon? Please rise. Beautifully sung. Students, please take a seat. Staff, please slip on out, and then I'll hand it over to the heads of school to release. Have a lovely day.